I just got back from seeing 28 Years Later, and I'll say this, it was a pretty interesting comeback to this franchise. I mean, I don't think I liked it more than 28 Days Later. I think I definitely got a kick out of that more, but I think it was more engaging than 28 Weeks Later. I think the story-wise, what they were trying to do with the characters and stuff, I was definitely more engaged with this than I was with 28 Weeks Later. All of the performances in this movie were really, really good. The main kid of this movie, Spike, the actor does a really good job because he's basically the main character of this movie, and the whole movie is kind of relying on him, and he does a really, really good job. We all thought that Aaron Taylor Johnson's character was going to be the main character, and his son was going to be more of a side character, but no. He's given the most to do in like the first act of this movie, and then he kind of becomes absent and becomes almost like a different movie. He becomes a little bit absent, but for the most part, he does a really good job. And we basically focus on, you know, the kid with his mum, who's played by Jodie who also does a great job. I mean, performances all around from every actor in this movie. Everyone does a really good job. I was really, really hoping they would show at least enough of how much, you know, the infected have evolved after all these years, like 28 years, but I was like, oh, it's a part one, they might not show too much and save it for the next two movies. But I think they show enough different, like, I guess, variants of the zombies in this movie. We get different kinds of zombies. I won't get into spoilers, but we get to see different like ways the infected have evolved, and it was interesting. It was definitely one of the most interesting parts of the movie, and definitely intrigues me to see the next two movies to see what else they could possibly do with the infected. It was they got to do some pretty cool stuff, and it was one of the most interesting parts of the movie. Story-wise, I think a lot of people are complaining that the first half of this movie and the rest of it feel like almost two different movies piled into one, which I do see what they mean, but I think it works for the most part. Like after the first act, we get this. It does get a little slow. It almost feels like it's trying to turn into this like drama a little bit. It slows down quite a bit, but then it does eventually pick itself back up, and it becomes interesting again with the zombies and the infected, while also trying to tell the story and the themes about, you know, death and, you know, you're gonna die one day. Remember, people die and all that type of stuff. And it does lead to a very emotional scene near the end of the movie, which, you know what, it dragged on for so long that it actually got me a little teary. I'm not gonna lie. So good job on that. It got me a little bit. The ending of this movie, teasing what we could possibly see in the next movie, I was like, what the fuck is this? Why are we ending it like this? This is so fucking goofy. I overall thought the ending of the movie was pretty good, and it felt like an ending. It actually felt like a completed story, while also teasing what to expect in the next movie. But man, that was just a weird little tease, and it does make me a little worried for the next movie. It was too much. And overall, I think 28 Years Later was an interesting comeback to this franchise. I didn't like it as much as 28 Days Later, but I think it had enough where I was definitely a little more hooked with this than I was with 28 Weeks Later. I'm intrigued to see what they'll do with the next two movies, and I hope it doesn't have that same goofy feel that ending had. But overall, if you're a fan of the franchise, I think this movie is definitely worth a watch.